What if the Jedi weren't always the noble guardians of peace we were told they were? What if their history is layered with betrayal, forgotten powers, and secrets so dangerous that even the Jedi Council erased them from the archives? Tonight, we're unraveling 20 Jedi mysteries, hidden truths that could completely reshape the way you see the galaxy far, far away. The Jedi who fell before the Sith. We've been told the Sith rose as enemies of the Jedi. But what if the Sith were merely inheritors of something older? Ancient records whisper of the Shadows, Jedi who turned to darkness thousands of years before the word Sith even existed. They studied the same force, but without restraint, and their discoveries became the foundation of Sith philosophy. The Jedi purged all mention of them from their own history, terrified that their existence proved a dangerous truth, that darkness didn't come from outside the Jedi Order, but from within it, the temple that eats memories. Not all Jedi temples were places of peace and meditation. One legend speaks of a temple that devoured memory itself. Knights who trained there would forget their families, their homes, even their own names. Their bonds to the outside world were erased, leaving only loyalty to the Order. Was this temple a sacred place of transformation, or was it a tool of control, ensuring no Jedi could ever turn back to the life they once had? The Council says nothing, but the silence itself may be the answer. The Jedi masks of silence in excavations of ancient battlefields. Historians found strange masks once worn by Jedi. They weren't helmets of protection, but masks of suppression. When worn, they silenced all emotion, fear, anger, even love. But some Jedi wore them too long. Their identities faded, their individuality erased until only obedient husks remained. Did the Council encourage this, or was it abandoned when the price became too high? 4. The weapon that burned the sky. Buried in obscure lore is mention of a weapon created by the Jedi themselves, one capable of burning entire skies. Not a Death Star, not a super laser, something smaller, subtler. A Kyber-powered artifact that could ignite the very air. Worlds worship the Jedi as gods of fire, bringers of rain or destruction depending on their will. If true, this means the Jedi once walked the same path as the Sith, holding absolute power over life itself. The Jedi who spoke to the dead. We know of Force ghosts, but early Jedi spoke to the dead directly. They didn't fade into shimmering blue light, but lingered as voices, counselors, entire councils of spirits guiding the living. The practice was outlawed. Why? Perhaps because the voices weren't always who they claimed to be. Perhaps Jedi realized too late that some spirits whispering wisdom were something else entirely. Ancient, hungry, and wearing the masks of the dead. The betrayal of the first council. Every council of power eventually faces rebellion. Some texts hint that the very first Jedi Council was betrayed, not by outsiders but by their own knights. They didn't believe anyone should sit in judgment over the Force. Their rebellion was swift, brutal, and erased from records. What if this betrayal wasn't an isolated event, but the first cycle in a repeating pattern? Perhaps Order 66 was not the first purge of Jedi leaders, only the most recent. The Jedi who hid their children today. We know Jedi take children from their families at infancy, but long ago some Jedi raised their own families in secret. They believed the Force ran stronger in their bloodlines, that by passing on their gifts biologically, they could strengthen the Order forever. The Council saw this as selfish and dangerous. Bloodlines were wiped from the records, and attachment became forbidden. But what if remnants remain? What if families descended from these secret Jedi walk the galaxy still, carrying power no one understands? 8. The secret of the white Kyber. White lightsabers appear only rarely. Legends say they are not born pure, but purified. To create one, A Jedi must take a corrupted red crystal from a fallen Sith and cleanse it through fire, meditation, and near-death trials. Most who attempt this are destroyed in the process, but those who succeed wield a blade unlike any other, a weapon that has looked into the abyss and survived. The Order that vanished. Overnight, one entire sect of Jedi disappeared without battle, without graves, without explanation. Their halls were found abandoned. Meals were still on the tables, robes neatly folded. Some believe they transcended into the Force itself, leaving behind only empty shells of existence. Others fear something darker, that an enemy erased them so completely, even memory itself was devoured. The Jedi who walked in dreams. Not all Jedi trained in lightsabers. Some specialized in walking the dreamscape. They could enter another being's mind while they slept, teaching, healing, or tormenting. Dreams became battlefields. Wars fought in silence without scars. Children across the galaxy still claim to see blue-robed figures in their dreams. What if the Dreamwalkers never left? 11. The forgotten prison worlds. The Jedi kept prisons, not for Sith, but for their own fallen brothers and sisters. Entire worlds hidden from the galaxy, where Jedi were chained in stasis for centuries, alive but not living. These prisoners weren't executed. Why? Perhaps the Council feared killing them would release their power into the Force. But if they still exist, what would happen if those prison worlds were ever found? 12. The Jedi who feared the Force. Not every Jedi believed the Force was a blessing. Some saw it as a parasite, a hunger that fed on life, binding users into endless cycles of conflict. They cut themselves off completely, renouncing the Order. What's chilling is that entire generations followed them, planets where no one reached into the Force at all. And if they were right, what does that make the Jedi and Sith? Masters of the Force or slaves to it? 13. The lost language of the Force. Some say the Force once spoke in words, not visions. Not feelings, actual words, a language older than the galaxy itself. The first Jedi could hear it. They recorded fragments, symbols scattered across forgotten temples. But over time that language fell silent. Or perhaps the Jedi stopped listening. The Council's hidden war. We think of the Jedi Council as united. But ancient texts speak of wars fought within the Order itself. Councils divided, each claiming to be the true heirs of the Force. Battles fought in shadows, hidden from history. What if the scars of these civil wars are still carved into forgotten worlds, buried beneath ruins that the galaxy mistakes for Sith strongholds? 15. The Jedi who love darkness. Balance is not light without darkness. Some Jedi believe this deeply. They walked willingly into shadow, not to be corrupted, but to embrace darkness as part of themselves. The Council branded them heretics, but what if they were right? Perhaps the first Grey Jedi weren't rebels at all, but visionaries who saw truth long before anyone else. The shattered prophecies. The prophecy of the Chosen One is famous, but it was only one among many. Dozens of prophecies existed, scattered like shards of broken glass. Some spoke of eternal wars, others of galaxies dying in silence. Why were these hidden? Perhaps because they predicted not victory, but failure. Perhaps because they foretold the end of the Jedi themselves. The Force wells across the galaxy are places where the Force runs like a river, overflowing with power. Jedi bathed in these wells to heal wounds, restore youth, even glimpse eternity. But these places demanded sacrifice. For every Jedi healed, another vanished into the well forever. Perhaps that's why they were sealed, not because they failed, but because they worked too well. The Jedi who created monsters. Some Jedi believed defense meant creation. They shaped beasts with the Force, molding them into protectors. But some of those creatures broke free, beasts with instincts warped by unnatural power, roaming the galaxy long after their creators vanished. Are some of the galaxy's most feared predators. Jedi made experiments that no one dares admit. 19. The secret of the twin suns. Why does destiny always return to Tatooine? Some Jedi texts claim the twin suns are not ordinary stars, but ancient watchers, celestial guardians tied to prophecy. Perhaps that's why Anakin was born there. Why Luke grew there. The galaxy doesn't revolve around Tatooine by chance, but because it is the stage of destiny itself. The Jedi who saw the end, one Jedi, foresaw the ultimate end. A galaxy without Jedi, without Sith, without the Force at all. His vision was branded heresy, his writings destroyed, but fragments survive. He didn't see war. He saw silence, a time when the Force itself grew tired and left, and maybe that's the true endgame of Star Wars. Not victory, not balance, but nothingness. So what do these mysteries reveal? That the Jedi were not only guardians of peace, but keepers of dangerous truths, locked away to protect the galaxy, or themselves. And maybe their greatest secret wasn't about the Force at all, but about us.